everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is me again, Dorsak, and I'm so excited for this video because in this one I'm going to share with you 33 hand letterings and font ideas for you to use in your bullet journal. So let's get started. So let's get right into it. So the first hand letterings I want to share with you is something that I did before many times. So if you're not new to my channel, you've probably seen it before. So I'm starting off with a smaller cursive header in the middle and then adding a bigger header on top of it, like behind it, if it makes any sense. So the bigger text that's right behind the cursive, I'm making it a lot different, a lot more structured, and you can either leave it blank or make it bolder and color it in like I'm doing here with black. This is how I usually do it. I love how it looks. And moving on to the second one, it's a really simple one. Basically just write the text in cursive and faux calligraphy your text. So basically add a thicker line where you have the downer strokes, and to finish it off I added dash line as well, just because I thought it looks really cool and gives it a nice twist. So the next one is really simple. So basically all I do is write narrow letters and spreading them really high, so basically making them tall and narrow, and I think it gives it a really cool funky look. I love this one. The next one is the same idea, however I'm adding those lines on the left side. I just started incorporate this one recently and I think it's really fun, and again very simple, which is key. Next one is again very simple one. Whenever I have a sheet or a spread with more curvier lines, it's nice to have a lowercase that made into a header. I think it's really cool and unpredictable. I don't know, I think it's really fun. Next one is using cursive, but again very long and narrow and tall, and I'm adding those thicker downer strokes but on the side, leaving a gap, and so I think it's a really cool way to change it up a little. So the next one is really fun. So basically all I'm doing is starting off with the lowercase and then a capital and then lowercase again, and that's basically it. Next one is doing the same as before in terms of spreading out the fonts, but now I'm just making it a lot wider. The next hand lettering is so cool. I love it. I've seen rainbows everywhere. It's very trendy right now, and I was thinking, how can I make a font or a hand lettering that really reminds me of rainbows? So that's what I came up with, and I think it looks really cool. I really love how it turned out, and I can't wait to use it in the future. You can either leave it blank to have a more light and airy hand letterings, and you can also have it colored in, and this is a bit more sophisticated, I would say. So the next one, what I'm doing is writing the top, let's say third of each letter, and what's unique about this hand lettering is that I'm leaving this gap in between the lines in the bottom that I'm adding now to the top, and basically is just having two separate styles in one, and I think it's really cool. The next one is just the simple hand lettering that you can imagine. Basically rotate each letter to different sides. If you're looking for more fun vibes, I would definitely consider using it, and I'm adding the line on the side just to add a little something to it, and I think it looks really cool. So for the next one, I would recommend starting off with pencil first, and my goal is for this one is basically have all the downer strokes as if they are on top of the lines, if it makes any sense. And you can see here when I'm going over it with the pen, and you can really see that I'm leaving it blank, and it looks as if it's coming on top of the lines in the back. The next one is probably one that you've seen a million times, but I think it's really cool and I wanted to attempt doing it. It's a more gothic hand lettering. I never did it before, but I wanted to try and see how it looks like, and obviously I did it way bigger than I probably should. It's really huge compared to the other hand letterings on the sheet, but it doesn't matter. I enjoyed trying it, and basically the whole idea is to have the edges cut to 45 degrees and then it gives this gothic look to the hand lettering. The next one is basically the same wide text as the one on the top, but for this one I'm adding a bit more to it and making a thick band on the top. You can either do it on the top or on the bottom, depends on which letters you use, but for this one I decided to have a thick band on the top. So the next one is a more rounded text, and I decided to have one that's a lot thicker and wider. I think it's really cool and bold. So for the next one is really simple. All you do is just writing with lines, so you have no borders to your letters. I think that it's really cool and light, and if you want a text to be not bold and noticeable, it's a really cool one to use. The next one is one of those long and tall letters, but for this one I'm adding a shadow or a thicker line on the side. Basically I'm having a little gap, so it's the same as the cursive in the beginning, just with a more structured kind of font. So the next one, they're short and wide, and I'm adding small lines as a shadow on the left, and I think it's really cool and fun and fast to do. The next one is the same idea, just a regular font, not tall and not wide, and I'm adding those 45 degrees lines as the shadows, and I think it's really cool and a bit more three-dimensional, I would say. The next one is just a very wobbly text, and it's just very rounded, no hard edges. The next one is so fast and cool. You just basically write in cursive and go over it in different pens with different thicknesses. It will give a sketchy vibe to your text. The next one is an ice cream font, and I don't know, I thought it's really cool. Basically write in any text you want and add those ice cream drizzling on the top, and I think it's so fun. The next one is something that I've been doing since high school, and now I feel like it's easier for me to do it because I really see the negative. You can start off with a pencil if it's harder. All you want to do is have the negative space in between the letters pop instead of the actual letter. So it might be harder to see it at first, but just color in between the letters. I don't know if it's easier to understand that way, but you can see what I'm doing here. I don't know how I never got the chance to incorporate it in one of my bullet journal spreads, but it's something that I really love and I think it's so cool. So for the next one, I'm doing a really rounded text and adding those dots, which reminds me a lot of a horseshoe, but I think it's really cool and fun and simple, and I just thought it's cool to incorporate it here. And the next one is again having those bubbly text. And what I'm doing here is, either you can just leave it like that because it's cool the way it is, but I'm showing you a way to make it a lot more three-dimensional. I'm adding a vanishing point on the top, and basically I'm adding a shadow to each letter, and I think it's so cool. It's something that you need to practice a little at first, but if it's hard, just add the vanishing point and draw all the lines to it and add the shadow. That way it will be a lot easier. So the next font is again very simple. All I'm doing is writing a small letter in the middle. It's the same idea as the first one that I showed you guys, but for this one I'm adding really fun font in the back, which is made out of only lines. So basically for this one, I feel like the text in the middle is more bold than the one in the back, which is pretty much the opposite from the first one I showed you. So it's another way to look at it. I think it's really cool. The next one is using again those lines and thicker bands, I would call them, and incorporating them together. So you can see here what I'm doing. I'm just thinking of each letter differently, how I can make a thicker band within it, and then adding those lines to contradict, and it just making this really cool look of really heavy lines and really thin and light lines all together. I think you got the idea, and I think it's my favorite font so far in this spread, I would say. I really like this one. The next one is again a really bold and fun idea. Is basically you write your text in cursive and you create this box around it, and you can see that I'm leaving an empty white space between the cursive lettering and the actual band that I created, and so it gives this really cool look, and it makes the text really pop because of the dark background, and I think it's really cool, and I'm definitely gonna use it soon. The next one is just showing you how cool it is to make a font that is really wide and not so tall. So I'm just using one row and just really spreading the font all the way to the side. So for the next and last one, I'm just writing one of my basic hand letterings, and I'm leaving a empty band in the middle, and you can either leave it blank like that, which I think it's really cool, or you can add those lines and dots in the middle, and I think it's really cool and fun and something I will definitely try in the future. So that's it, there you go. Here are the 33, and I think you can really call them even more than that. I think there are like about 50 different options you can take from this spread. I really hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, that's it. Thank you very much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video and got some inspiration out of it. I know I'm gonna refer to this spread a lot in the future, and yeah, if you like this kind of video, let me know in the comments below. If you want me to make more of these, I would love to, so just let me know, and don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. And that's it, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.